Welcome back to another episode of Cavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel, we're going to be doing a kind of a interesting review here. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet and right to the point. But recently, I picked up In the Heat of the Night on 4K here from Kino Lorber. This is a Best Picture winner. This is honestly one of the most fantastic films ever made. I love this movie. It is definitely probably one of my top 10 favorite films of all time. I really, as of recently, have begun to explore Sidney Poitier's filmography, and that man was just such an inspirational guy, a fantastic actor, a really good director too. He's directed some really good movies. I think this is honestly a movie that should be appreciated. A couple of years ago, I actually reviewed the Criterion version here of In the Heat of the Night, and this was a fantastic disc. So when I heard Kino Lorber was putting it out on 4K, I had to pick it up. And in this review, we're going to be going over the picture quality, the audio quality, and comparing it to the other Criterion disc here. I'm going to start right off with the picture quality of the 4K here. This is literally the exact same 4K restoration that is seen on the Criterion disc. However, now we have it in an actual 4K disc. There is no HDR on this disc, though, and that's a big thing to keep in mind. So really, how is it? The picture on this disc, on this film, is absolutely phenomenal. Just like the old 4K transfer was on the 1080 Blu-ray of the Criterion disc, it's amazing. The 4K disc, however, I did notice, with that up in resolution, now you're seeing it in native 4K. It is a little bit crisper. That detail level is a little bit higher. Black levels, little bit better. It's a slight upgrade, but nothing to the point where I would say it's a drastic change. The resolution really does help where you're seeing little details, skin tones and things like that look a little bit better, but more or less, this is almost identical to this Blu-ray here. It's a fantastic disc, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. This is an awesome disc, but it's not a huge step up, and I think the lack of the HDR is really to blame here. Between the two, which one would I pick? I would probably say this is, just a hair better. Like I said, the detail level is off the charts. There is a good amount of grain in the film. Again, this did come out in 1967, so it is an older film, but it does look fantastic. The grain is, I would say, probably about a medium grain throughout the film. It doesn't really affect anything. I'm glad they did not use any kind of digital noise reduction on this. But you do have to understand the movie is 55 years old at this point. So it's an older film, but it is phenomenal looking on this 4K disc. The audio tracks on this guy, it's a little different from what you got on the old older Criterion. This really isn't that old. But the Criterion has the monaural soundtrack. It's a lossless soundtrack on this. This guy, it's a stereo track. It's just the front, left, and right speakers. It's a 2.0. And you also have a 5.1 mix on this. I did watch it in the stereo, but I have seen that the 5.1 on this is also pretty good in terms of a soundtrack. So if you like the 5.1, you have it on this, and you actually don't have it on the Criterion here. So that's something to keep in mind. So there is a few differences between the special features on these. This guy here, there is a few extra things. There's a couple different interviews that are on this that are not on this disc. The big one to me, though, is there's an extra audio commentary on the the Kino Lorber disc with film historian Steve Mitchell and Nathaniel Thompson and Robert Mirisch. So you have an extra commentary on this guy on the 4K disc. And the other big thing I wanted to talk about, and this is really the biggest, is that the second disc here, the main movie, I should say, In the Heat of the Night, is only on the 4K disc. On the secondary discs, not only do you have the special features, a lot of them are shared from the Criterion, but you also get 2 extra movies, which to me was almost reason enough to buy this thing. There is They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, which is the sequel to In the Heat of the Night, which is actually, fairly good movie, and The Organization, which is the third film that came out a year after They Call Me Mr. Tibbs. And ironically enough, I had never actually seen The Organization until I picked this up. And it's okay. It's all right. It's more of an action-oriented film. But again, if you really wanted to see the full Tibbs trilogy, you do get them all here. The other 2 films look pretty solid on the standard Blu-ray. As far as I know, I've never seen those 2 films on Blu-ray before this set. I knew they were out on DVD. I'm pretty sure they had a DVD release. But it is really nice that they included a couple special features from the Criterion, the commentary, but also, 2 extra films. So you're really getting 3 films in this set here. And honestly, like I said, for the money, if you can pick this up on sale, it's definitely worth it. However, if you are a fan of this film, or just Sidney Poitier in general, you really should pick this up. It's worth it. Just to have the 3 films, it's worth the money, honestly. But if not, if you already have the Criterion disc here, I mean, the differential is not huge. I mean, it looks great, but it's not a huge differential to the point where if you're only buying it for In the Heat of the Night and you already have the Criterion, it may be worth hanging on to that for a bit longer. However, if you do want to pick up that Kino Lorber disc, I'll leave a link in the description below to Amazon. If you use that link, it does help support the channel here, so really appreciate it. Until next time, guys, I just wish you all the best, and of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Please stay safe and take it easy.